Hey you! Thanks for stopping by! Today's video is going to be different from my usual content. I normally do unboxing videos and manga hauls. For a while I have wanted to branch out to make different content, such as manga reviews. I have a lot to say about manga I have read, from the wholesome to the weird. So join me on my first manga review video of Remina by Junji Ito. For a little backstory, Remina was the first Junji Ito manga I read. If you have been around the manga community long enough, then you have heard the name Junji Ito. He is a horror manga artist. His most well-known manga are Uzumaki and Tomie. His art style is very distinct. You could look at a panel and just know it's a Junji Ito. His work is very detailed, and his character designs look realistic, meaning they do not have the typical anime looks such as big eyes and hairstyles that defy gravity. They have realistic proportions, which adds to the horror because they look like real people. I have heard of him before, but never read his manga until I was surfing through Right Stuff Anime and saw Remina up for pre-order. I wanted to know if this manga was worth picking up. I was starting to collect manga again, and I was looking particularly for one-shots, so I decided to look it up online. Read it in a day. Now, what is Remina about? In short, Remina is about a young woman whose father is a scientist. He names a star after his daughter, and this star is on course to destroy Earth. Everyone believes that human Remina and the star Remina have this connection, and that killing human Remina will save the planet. Sacrificing one person to save billions of people. Sounds like something out of Fate Zero.
In people on the Earth.
I curse you. Kiritsuku Emiya.
Versus you two.
Manyu curses you.
That's why.
Suffer.
That's why.
Till the day
I have to kill you.
you die.
Interesting premise. Is it any good? Let's get into it. The story takes place in future Tokyo. Professor Oguro is announcing the discovery of a new planet that he named Remina after his daughter, who is present during the conference. Remina looks like every Junji Ito female lead. Remina is a bit of a celebrity, not just for having a planet named after her, she's also an idol. She has many fans who fight for her affection. We have Yasumi, who is Remina's manager, Goda, who is president of her fan club. Then there's Kunihiro, who comes from a wealthy family and is also her biggest fan. Kunihiro has a punchable face. Scientists discover that planet Remina is heading to Earth and devouring nearby planets with its giant tongue. While Remina is celebrating her birthday with friends and fans, people in the streets begin to panic, believing Earth is next. An angry mob attacks Remina and the group flee the building. They manage to get away in a flying car. Okay, that car design is so cute. The rest of the story is about Remina and gang trying to survive as planet Remina is headed to Earth. I will be getting into spoilers, so if you don't want to know, skip ahead to this timestamp right here. Or if you don't care about being spoiled, then let's continue. Remina and gang try to get away but get caught in an angry crowd. Yasumi shields Remina from getting stabbed but dies in the process. Hooded men take the group hostage and prepare the poor woman to be sacrificed.
The Ku Klux Klan! Oh!
They come to the conclusion that because Remina shares the same name with the planet, that they have this connection, and ending her life will stop planet Remina, and everyone just goes along with it out of desperation. We see her dad has been captured and tied to a cross. Remina is also tied to a cross, and if the Jesus symbolism wasn't obvious enough, Professor Oguro is stabbed in the chest, just like Jesus. Planet Remina approaches Earth and destroys the city with its tongue. Goda and Remina manage to survive, though she mourns the loss of her friend and dad. They find Kunihiro cowering in a corner. The two men get into an argument to which Remina remarks that she hates violence, causing Goda to just leave because he somehow thinks she hates him now. Yeah, this part makes no sense. Just felt forced. Kunihiro takes Remina back to his mansion. His parents are hesitant to have Remina there since she's the world's most wanted person now. They reveal their plans to leave Earth through connections with the Prime Minister. The dad mentions that an astronaut has been sent to planet Remina to see if it's livable. He also notes that this astronaut has a similar sounding name to their long-lost son. But Kunihiro doesn't want to leave without Remina, so they hide in the nuclear room. It's at this point he shows his true intentions by trying to force himself on her. I knew this guy was up to no good. Look at that smug face. She resists him, and when the parents barge in, he blames her. The family kick her out just as the hooded man and his angry mob are conveniently outside. This right here, this is the first time I was jump scared by a manga. When I scrolled down to this page, I jumped back. The Junji Ito manga I've read after this hasn't scared me like this. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy his manga, but for different reasons. His artwork has amazing detail, and I love his character designs. He focuses on body horror, which is scary imagining your body twisting like a pretzel. Remina avoids the angry mob and takes shelter where she meets a middle-aged homeless man. When the mob finds her, they are both tortured and tied to a cross right next to the burned remains of Professor Oguro. Poor Remina. They can't just kill her and get it over with. They have to prolong her suffering. At the same time, Kunihiro and his family are on a rocket for planet Remina. Speaking of planet Remina, it strikes the Earth again with its long tongue, with Remina, the hooded man, and the homeless man surviving. The hooded man runs off with Remina as the homeless man follows. I love how the homeless man is going out of his way to save a person he just met. And it should be noted that this story is sending this message about mob mentality and how people will just go with the crowd out of fear. Homeless people are looked down on and seen as less, yet he has more humanity than everyone else in the story. They discover that the recent attack has caused the Earth to have low gravity, meaning they can make big jumps and fly across the planet. The homeless man manages to save Remina but has to outrun the angry mob. Okay, that image of everyone just coming at him is terrifying. Meanwhile, on planet Remina, Kunihiro and his family arrive and quickly realize it is not safe to live and the air isn't breathable. They discover the dead bodies of other astronauts, and it cuts right before they are killed by an alien. I wish we got at least one panel of their painful demise. Planet Remina keeps spinning the Earth with its tongue, but the two manage to escape unharmed. They eventually encounter a family, mom and dad with 2 kids, and help them find shelter in the nuclear room from earlier. The hooded man appears again, grabbing Remina, refusing to go down without taking her with him. She fights back, and it's revealed the hooded man is Goda. Okay, this twist seems unbelievable. We saw him when he was taken hostage by a group of hooded men and wanted Remina dead, because he thought she hated him because she didn't want him, she didn't like him fighting. I don't believe this to be a good twist, or his motivations weren't fleshed out properly. Goda has been portrayed throughout the story as an obsessed fan, so he thinks if he can't have her, no one else can, but why become the hooded man? Was he in on this in the beginning when they were captured the first time? Did he have a change of heart when he left Remina? I can't be alone in thinking this. I need more backstory. Anyway, getting off topic, Remina escapes him and he presumably falls to his death. She joins everyone in the nuclear room just as Earth is swallowed by planet Remina. The nuclear shelter survives, just floating in space. Everyone inside rejoices. The homeless man is revealed to be the long-lost brother of Kunihiro, who left the family 10 years ago after they discouraged him from being an astronaut. Which is a good thing, because we saw what happened to the astronauts. The manga ends with Remina looking out into space, heading to places unknown. Maybe they will find another livable planet, if they don't starve. I wanted to know what happened next, but Junji Ito wants to leave that to the reader. I looked up reviews online to see what people have to say. Here are a few. Ego, the living planet, comes to Earth and the whole world loses its collective shite. Mankind gets in its head that the girl the planet is named after is responsible for bringing the planet killer to Earth and tries to kill her. The rest of the book is one big chase scene as she is pulled along by a series of admirers while mobs try to murder her. At the same time, Ego is going all Gene Simmons over Earth. The girl Remina is completely useless. You'd think this book was written in the 50s as Remina is repeatedly drug along like Linus's blanket with little say of her own. At least Junji Ito's art is better than his storytelling. This was crazy action-packed manga that blended together cosmic and sci-fi horror. The story itself was perhaps a little weak, but the artwork was absolutely amazing. The planet Remina was so creepy. While not my favorite of Junji Ito's works, this was still worth reading if you're a fan. I have always been a fan of Ito, and Hellstar Remina showed me that he is still a genius. Hellstar shows the depths of human sickness and insanity. What lengths people will go to in order to survive. Even if they are completely wrong and irrational in their thinking, the sacrifice of a few in order to save the many plays out in a horrific detail in Hellstar. I would recommend this to all horror fans. Ito's graphics are awesome, and you get a sick feeling in the pit of your stomach while reading. Truly perfect. This one was more irritating than scary. For my final thoughts, Remina was a decent read. It says a lot about society and how cruel people can be for the sake of survival. Junji Ito's artwork is amazing as usual, his character designs are distinct, his facial expressions are clear, and he does a good job at making the villains unlikable. Just look at Kunihiro. Just look at that face. I felt bad for what Remina went through. Sadly, she wasn't that interesting. She was a damsel in distress for most of the story, which is understandable because she goes through a lot. She's in shock from the horrors of what people are doing to her loved ones and doing to her. So it's like, I know she's not interesting, but her actions are understandable. The homeless guy was more interesting. He had an interesting backstory, and I was rooting for him to survive. It's not his best work. For my first Junji Ito, I would have preferred to read something else as my introduction. If you're a Junji Ito fan, you will still enjoy it. For people trying to get into horror manga, I recommend Uzumaki. I would rate Remina a 3 out of 5. That was my review of Remina. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Thanks for stopping by.